Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so Nadine, why don't you jump in? What's going on for you? What are you finding?
Well, it's
What's
been,
bad? What's good? What's
yeah,
interesting?
it's certainly been challenging, working from home, and having everybody in the household all together, and trying to manage my work schedule, and my daughter's, got her schooling that she needs to do, and just trying to get out as much as possible and walk, and get some, much needed vitamin D from the sun, and trying to eat healthy and do all the right things. And it is very stressful right now. I mean, a lot of my friends are, struggling, and I'm very lucky and blessed and fortunate to still have my work, my health coaching and my IT job. And it has been hard, but it's also been a time, I think, of self-reflection, and really starting to appreciate your loved ones, and, your family, and try to reconnect with them, and, really work on those relationships, which are really important, I think, when it comes to being healthy, being able to just, you know, um, reconnect, and self-reflect, and try to de-stress as much as possible. I think exercise is really important, and I've been trying to do that as much as possible, and get out of the house. But it is a tough time, absolutely, and I wish it wasn't happening, but it is, and we just have to accept it, and we have to just do the best that we can right now to stay positive.
Yeah, I think a lot of people share that sentiment, I'm sure. So what is it that you'd hope to get from this class?
I want to learn more about how to meditate effectively. I do my breathing, and I try to do my quiet time, and I try to meditate with music, with relaxing music. And I don't really know effectively, I don't think, how to meditate effectively. And I think that's something I'd really like to learn from you, because I understand a lot about nutrition and whatnot, but when it comes to meditation and yoga and these practices to de-stress and quieten the mind, I think I need to be more effective in that area and learn more tools.
Okay, cool. So just to answer this question in a way that'll kind of answer it for everybody as well, is that I'm not going to teach you how to meditate tonight, but you're going to learn by doing it. So you'll have done it, and then you can figure out how you did it afterwards, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I'm going to guide you through the process. This is a hypnotic, guided, mindful meditation to be aware, to be very present, to be, aware of here and now and what's going on within you and around you. So let me just, who else wants to share? You can just unmute yourself, or actually I'll unmute everybody for a minute, and then who would like to share?
I like to share.
Okay, that's Esther.
Yeah, I'm Esther from New York, Midtown.
Okay, so what's going on for you, and what do you hope to get from this?
Well, I think these are just very interesting times. For me, I consider myself somewhat of an empath, which for me, I'm still learning, I'm still discovering what that is. But it basically means that I can feel people's emotions, and as I walk through the city, I can kind of just feel what people are feeling, and be connected in that way. So yesterday, I went for a quick walk, and people are still trying to get out a little bit and get some fresh air, but you can feel how what we're going through is changing society, and how it's going to change it for the future, in terms of people being so aware of somebody getting close to them, and practicing social distancing and all these things. And I think during this time, what I'm trying to get out of these sessions is to learn how to quiet my mind, and how to be more centered and in control of my thoughts. Because, listening to the news and everything else, it can get sort of loud in my head and a little bit overwhelming. So I'm hoping that these sessions help me feel a little bit more centered and in control of my own thoughts.
Cool. So my my overall philosophy is to help people to relax, envision, and succeed. So relax is the first part, and that's really what this is all about, is to clear that chatter in your mind, or quiet, or to address that chatter and to find out what it really wants to tell you. Because a lot of times that chatter feels like it's pulling us back, but really if you shape it in the right way, it's just trying to protect you from maybe going down the wrong path, or not succeeding in the best way possible for you. So a lot of times it's good to pay attention to what that chatter in your mind is saying and then turn it off. Don't just turn it off without, because it's like anyone who has kids, when your kid is screaming and they need you, they really just need you to listen a lot of times. So once you listen, you don't have to buy into their story, but at least you know what their story is, and is it really urgent? You can evaluate it, and then you can let them know, listen, this is important. I get it. We'll talk later. So, okay. So we're definitely going to cover some things with that tonight. Carol, I see your name on here, and I'm glad that you're here. Hopefully you're feeling better. Would you like to share anything?
I'm feeling much, much better. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. I think I totally turned the corner, and I am considered recovered at this point. So yay. Yeah. So I'm glad to be on the call tonight. I've missed a lot of things over the last couple of weeks. So getting back to routine is really important to me at this point.
Okay, cool. So what is it that you'd hope to get from this?
And again, just more relaxation in these crazy, anxious times. Just a place for me to nourish myself. I hold space for a lot of people all day long because I've worked through all of this. I haven't been taking any time off. So just to be able to, recharge my own batteries and get centered and grounded.
Okay, cool. So we're definitely going to do a lot of centering and grounding and all kinds of fun stuff in terms of getting in touch with the better version of you.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, so
Hey, Mark, I have a quick question. I'm sorry.
Okay, sure. Who's that?
I have a friend. It's Esther. I have a friend that's trying to get on, Julie, but she's saying that she didn't get the link for some reason. Is there any way for her to get on? Should I give her any information?
I just sent Julie the phone number to dial in.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I just texted it to her. It's Patrice.
Hi, Patrice.
Okay, hi, Patrice.
Hi. Hey.
Hey, Patrice, I know you. No one's got their picture. No one's got their video on. So anyone who really wants to participate, I don't know, maybe I should offer an extra bonus if you share your video, because then I get to see you. But either way, it's all good. We'll make it work. And
You don't want to see me tonight. We'll pick another night.
Same here. I'm in my pajamas. Not a good look right now.
Hey, listen, I was in my pajamas until about a half an hour ago. It was a work from home day and mostly phone calls and no video calls until now. So I cleaned up a little bit, but it's all good. So I'm gonna mute everybody unless anyone has anything additional they want to share or something that they definitely want to get that hasn't been mentioned yet from the class.
Mark, it's Patrice.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing probably similar to everyone else, is a lot of worry, right? Worry about your family. I'm worried about my parents. I'm worried about who is going to get sick, who's going to stay healthy. I'm worried about finding a new job. I realize some of these things are out of my control, and I'm trying to worry less and have more faith, but I'm struggling.
Okay, cool. This is definitely going to help that tonight, because what is worry? Worry is saying, what if, right? So this is actually the first part of my talk, is the what if scenarios, right? So there's two directions what if can go in. Most people take what if and they put it into worst case scenario. I'm just going to mute everybody. And if there's anything urgent, then just unmute yourself and kind of chime in a little bit. But we're just going to keep the momentum going here so we cover everything that we need to cover tonight. So what if? What's the worst case scenario? What could happen? What could go wrong? This virus is going to kill everyone. There's going to be no one left. It's like, what if? Like, why would we play that out? What if I get sick? What if I die? What if someone in my family gets sick? What if they die? And it's like, there's people that I've heard that have gotten it. They've gotten over it. There's one person on the call tonight that could tell that story. So, it is dangerous, and there is a lot that's going on that people should be cautious about. And yet at the same time, to just keep playing what if, well, why not play what if in a best case scenario? What if, because of this, the world changes and people are more caring to each other? A lot of people have been reaching out to each other lately. What if that trend continues and we start to do things to be more considerate of others? What if this plays out in a way that we can be more grateful for the things that we do have? What if this plays out in a way that, everybody's anticipating, oh, this person could get sick or that person could get sick. But really, what happens if they don't get sick? Then you wasted all that time and energy on a worst case scenario. So I'm going to tell a quick story. And many years ago, I was on a plane ride back from LA to New York. And I hadn't taken a vacation in a long time. And this was the first time in a while I get on a plane. And I love flying. I absolutely love flying. I can't see why people would ever not like flying, but I get that they do. I've helped a lot of people get over fear of flying. But I absolutely love flying. And we're on this plane ride from New York to JFK. And they announced that there are some storms over Westchester. So we're just going to circle over Pittsburgh for a while. And that while turned into about an hour and a half. And then it got to a point where they were concerned about how much fuel was going to be left in the plane. So they were contemplating we were either going to land in Pittsburgh or maybe Philadelphia. And then they were going to keep us overnight or get us some way on ground transportation to JFK in New York. But obviously no one wanted to do that. So the announcement came over the radio that finally we were cleared to land at JFK, and they started their descent. And we got down to about 4,000 or 5,000 feet. And all of a sudden, the plane just drops. And everybody in the plane is freaking out. They're the seatbelt signs are flashing, and everybody's warnings. And the pilot is talking about turbulence, and all the stewardess were freaking out. So it's it wasn't enough that the passengers were freaking out, but if the stewardesses are freaking out, this is not a normal thing. So the plane dropped actually about 1,500 feet, from about 4,000 down to 2,500 feet. As we were approaching JFK, no warning whatsoever. But now the pilot was warning to put on your seatbelts, stay seated, make sure everything's secure, and it's, the thing is how would you react when something like this happens? This what if is going on in people's heads, what if the plane crashes? What if this, what if that, and they're always playing out worst case scenario, right? So, the plane goes back up and it levels off, and then it continues its descent down as we're getting closer and closer to the airport. We get down to about 2,500 feet, and then all of a sudden the plane drops again, right? It drops down to about 1,000 feet now. And then, looking out the window, you could see the ground coming up pretty quick. Now everybody on the plane is screaming, they're clenching their seats, and they're freaking out. And my friend looks over at me like I'm crazy. Why is he looking at me like I'm crazy? Because I'm not reacting to this. And this is before I ever learned hypnosis or NLP or any of these tools that I've learned. And I'm just, smiling and laughing, right? I'm actually smiling and laughing. And my friend looks at me, he goes, why? What is your problem? Every single other, there's 300 people on the plane are freaking out, including the stewardesses and stewards, right? Probably not the pilot, I hope. But, I'm laughing. And, why would I be laughing? So, here's the thing in life. Everybody expects things to stay the same. They they expect things, if they're going good, they expect them to keep going good. If things are going great, they expect it to keep going great. If they're happy, they expect to stay happy, right? So nothing in life really stays the same. So what we need to do, and what we're going to do in the trance tonight, is we're going to look at two possible futures: worst case scenario, best case scenario. Because I like to really contrast it. You know, if you look at the disparity between choices, you know, if I handed you all the winning lottery ticket to the California lottery, well, some of you might be in California, but a winning lottery ticket to some place that's 3,000 miles away from you, and you know, all you need to do is get there within the next 24 hours to claim the ticket. Most people say they would go. But now if I said that the winning ticket was only for $1,000, most people wouldn't go. If it was for $10,000, some people might go. If it was for $100,000, pretty much everybody would be figuring out a way to go. If it was for $1 million, I don't think anyone on this call wouldn't go. And certainly if it was for $100 million, even the president would be hopping on his private jet to go collect $100 million. You know, no one would turn that down. So the thing is, the disparity between the yes and the no is really what leverages the choices that we make. So a lot of you have heard me say it before. I'm probably going to say it a lot of times, especially if you come to recurring meetings, is that life is choice, you know, and you have two possible futures. And the thing is to live into the one that you want. You know, you have a choice. You can go down the what if great future, or you can go down the what if not so great future. You can realize that, hey, we're going through a time, and there's no one, even myself, that wouldn't say that this virus situation is not a crisis in the world. But I love I think it's, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a Chinese word for crisis, translates into opportunity riding the dangerous wind. So, you know, this is certainly a dangerous wind. A lot of people are scared, and for good reason, because people are getting sick, and, you know, and they don't know what to do. They don't necessarily know how to prevent it exactly. I mean, we're doing things to keep social distancing, which is creating other problems for people without social contact. But we're resilient. We're making it happen. We're doing the best we can. But the opportunity in this is really, it could be hidden. And to reflect on your own life, and to look within yourself, and to say, maybe this is a time to say, well, what I've been doing, this status quo, what I've been doing, it's time to pull back. A lot of people I know have been, you know, contemplating for months or even years that they want to start a business. You know, well, now their job is kind of uncertain. They don't know if even after this, if they're going to go back to work. So a lot of people are coming to me for coaching and saying, well, how do I start a business? What do I start? You know, is it a dangerous time to start a business? What if the economy goes really bad after this? So this is, you know, and then certain businesses even, you know, this is affecting them. I know a lot of massage therapists, you know, I got a problem with my tooth. I need to go to the dentist. I call my dentist. He says, I can't see you, you know, and he referred me to a dentist that's doing only emergencies. So everybody's kind of making a shift in a way that, you know, they have to adjust. But there's people finding the opportunities in this. You know, I mean, I look at Zoom. We're all on a Zoom call right now. Like if it wasn't for this crisis, I'd be doing this live, and there might only be a handful of people. There might be people from halfway across the country that wouldn't be able to come and enjoy the benefits of this program because they can't physically make it to the area where I teach it live and in person. So I've been preparing. I've taken many courses over the last 6 months to a year. And, you know, 2 of those courses in particular were just in giving classes online like this. So, you know, when this happened, I really didn't have to shift gears that much. I just kind of stepped it up and I said, you know what, now's my time. I'm prepared. I'm just going to go out and serve. So you have to look at your life and what's going on specifically for you and discover that, okay, this is a dangerous wind, but where's the opportunity for you? You know, there's an opportunity that you can seek out and focus on and start to build something new, maybe even come up with a whole nother idea. You know, people never thought, okay, what would I do if I was locked in my house? You know, and I haven't even gotten to a full lockdown yet, like they have in other places in the world, but what would happen? How would you make money? How would you survive? How would you get food? How, you know, so this is this is bringing up problems, but these problems are opportunities for us to make plans for the future. You know, I don't think anyone in the United States will ever not have a full like 12 or 24 pack of toilet paper in their storage. You know, they're never going to not have bottles of water, even if they have a water filter. So, you know, people are going to stay prepared, not necessarily paranoid, but prepared, so that they know this is a way that we can make the best of whatever happens. So the thing to realize is, you know, what's your opportunity? How can you turn this into a positive for you? A lot of people that I know, even just, okay, you can't work, you can't do business, you can't do that. So it's a time to reconnect. It's a time to take classes or read those books that you've been putting off reading, or go through a program. I'm working with a business where the guy is an auto mechanic, and he, you know, he's only got one corporate client that they pick up the vehicles and bring it back to their shop right now. Retail customers, it's kind of like dropped to nothing. But he also has to do these ongoing certifications to be a 5-star service center. And he never has time to do that because he's always so busy serving his customers. Now he's got the time. He's not leaving his shop, but he can go on the computer and take plenty of time. And he's updating all of his certifications so that when this is over, and this will end, it is going to end. I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to make a promise. I promise you that this will end, and we will go back to normal. And some people will even get to a point where they just totally forgot that this ever happened. Okay, is this going to make a shift in the economy? It probably will. But the people who are taking the time now and saying, I got some downtime, I'm at home, I can go on the computer, thank God for the internet, I can read some books, I can go through some programs, some courses that I've been thinking about doing. I mean, I know a couple of people on the call tonight are health coaches or regular coaches or NLP practitioners, or, you know, there are things that you can do to take advantage of this time and do calls via Zoom. You know, I have one of my mentors, his business is totally portable. He spent the last 2 years traveling the world with no actual permanent home, no office. In a sense, he's been homeless, but not the first time in his life. The first time in his life, he was homeless and broke. Now he's homeless and like a multimillionaire, traveling around the world, living from place to place. But he can be in his jacuzzi in Italy and talking to $1 million client on the phone. So there's always those opportunities. But now is our opportunity to kind of step it up and find your unique opportunity. You know, look at your business that you want to come back to. Look at your job position. You know, what's your market dominating position? What makes you so unique that no matter what, people are going to come to you? And even if things are down, okay, so now reach out. Okay, so what need is there for people when they're feeling down or their business is down? So when we reach out to friends, when we reach out to family, when we reach out to business associates, when we reach out to clients, then we can keep those relationships going and maybe even make them stronger than they ever were. So this is an opportunity if you start to look at it that way. The what if this, what if that, what if this, what if that. So, you know, transform that voice. And we're going to do that in this trance tonight. And to help you to really realize, you know, you get what you focus on. You know, so what are you focusing on? You know, where your attention is going, your energy is flowing. So everybody's going, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick. But that's only going to lead to people getting sick. You know, this thought virus spread around the world. And I'm not saying there's not a real physical virus, but in addition to the real physical virus, there is a thought virus. And this spread faster than any thought virus that's ever spread around the world. I mean, for a student of marketing, I wish that I could create a campaign that would go as viral as this meme of this virus that everybody's talking about. There's no one not talking about it, good, bad, or indifferent. It's all over the news. It's all over everything. Warnings come up on just about every browser or whatever, or any new software that you're using. I mean, it's got nothing to do with the virus, and it's totally like free from any of that because you're not contacting anyone, but yet there's warnings everywhere. You drive down the highway, there's warnings on the street signs where there used to be traffic indicators. And speaking of which, there's no traffic. I drove all the way out east the other day. I think I saw 3 cars on the road in the middle of rush hour. You know, it's like, it's crazy that like so many people are just like staying home, and for good reason. But if you stay home to be safe, it's really good. The thing is, even in staying home and even being safe and even social distancing and all of this stuff that we're quote unquote required to do, and it's good measure to do that to a degree, but do it from a place of abundance. Do it from a place of joy and happiness. Do it from a place of being in choice for what you do with your life, not from a point of fear. Do it from a place of, hey, this is what we need to do to get through this, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get through this, but without getting to the point of ridiculous. A couple of people have posted things on their different social media pages. Like I saw one where this person was almost wearing a hazmat suit that was made out of black plastic garbage bags, and then they had like a face mask on, and it's like, you know, they look like they could fight anything in the world. and to me, at that point of that level of being afraid or paranoid or whatever you want to call it, or cautious, or, you know, you don't want to take chances, but yeah, at that point, just stay home unless there's something you absolutely need in the store. So I find that, you know, it's really useful to just, you know, pay attention to your state, pay attention to what you're focusing on, pay attention to what you really want, because this is not a time to put your goals aside. This is a time to really refocus on your goals. This is a time to eliminate the excuses that have been holding you back, and to really, like several people mentioned, to self-reflect, right? To really look inward. You know, if you can't go outward, go inward and really ask yourself those deep questions of, what do you want? You know, most people can tell you what they don't want. Well, even with this disease, well, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die. I don't want any of my family members to get sick. Well, yeah, that's great. That's what you don't want. But what do you want? You want to stay healthy. You want your family to stay healthy. You want to come out of this better and stronger than ever. You want to come out of it as a new and improved version of you, rather than just surviving or thriving. So here's the thing, you know, nothing in life stays the same, right? You know, we go through life and we say, okay, we want to keep things the same, but imagine a speedboat in a fast moving stream of water. And it's right about the center at a certain point in the water, but the water's moving fast. So how much effort, how much energy would it take for that speedboat to stay in exactly the same position? The current's moving side to side, there are winds, the stream is moving at a certain rate, so you have to move the throttle until you're going at the exact rate against the current. You have to constantly steer the boat just to stay in the same place. I mean, even the anchor wouldn't hold it in exactly the same place. It still gives room for the boat to move back and forth. So to try and keep your life the same is ridiculous, because life is a series of changes. And when you go with the flow of those changes, that's when you really get to experience the dynamic qualities of life. Life is not static, it's dynamic. And when you learn to go with it rather than fight it or resist it, then you start to realize, hey, you can enjoy it. Because let's face it, as far as I know, everyone on this call is healthy. I'm assuming that. If anyone is not healthy, I'm going to give you a second to unmute yourself and just shout out and say that you're not, not healthy, or at least not affected health-wise by anything related to this disease right now. Okay. So right here, right now, and I hope some of you, if you didn't watch it, go back to the email that I sent and watch this video. It's like one of my favorite videos, and I finally found like the best version of it. It's the value of time. Right here and right now is all there is, right? So right here and right now is all you have. But right here and right now, everything's fine. You know, everybody's saying, well, what if I'm out of work for much longer? I might not have enough money to survive. I might not be able to pay my bills. I might not be able to have food and electricity and all that. What if this? What if that? You know, well, the whole thing is right here, right now, you still have everything you need. You can still come from a place of abundance and say, you know, what if we get all kinds of crazy bonuses? What if my business gives me an incentive to come back to work because I might have found a different job during this time? or I might have shifted to my own business, or whatever changes you made. Or maybe you realized that, hey, this quote unquote dream job of yours, well, being off, I know a lot of people told me, I didn't know what I was going to do being off, but now that I'm off for all this time, I'm loving it. It's like permanent vacation. I feel like I'm retired, or like I can finally enjoy, like maybe not getting together with the people you love, but I know people that are telling me like every day they're going out and walking or biking, or just taking time to be and to do all the things. They can't go to a yoga class, but they're doing yoga at home. I know some yoga instructors that have shifted to giving live classes. Now they're just giving free content of videos showing different moves and poses and how to get yourself in the right state. So there's tons and tons of wonderful things happening right here, right now, that we can enjoy. So the saying is, and I have a poster up on my wall that says, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, right? But today, right here, right now, today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. This is a present that we have to enjoy this moment. It's really all we have. We're always anticipating, so that self-talk, or that kind of negative anticipation of what's going to happen. Well, that's not happening right now, right? It could possibly happen in the future. But if you get what you're focusing on, what future are you creating on by focusing on worst case scenario? When you focus on best case scenario, then what future are you creating? So let's say, worst case scenario, the whole economy falls apart, too many people get sick, and the whole world comes to a halt. Okay. So if that's going to happen, there's not much that we can do at this point to prevent that. But what if it doesn't happen? Let's say in a couple of weeks or a month or so, everything goes back to normal. The economy gets a boost. Businesses start thriving. And I mean, not every business is doing bad now. I know several industries, one of which I'm involved in, is doing really well right now. And the thing is to focus on what you do want. And when you focus on what you do want, best case scenario, even if it doesn't happen, at least you feel better in the time being, rather than making yourself all worried and sick and anxious and cautious of every little thing. People on this call who know me locally might not want to come near me after this, but you know what? I don't wear gloves when I go into the store. I don't wear a face mask when I go into the store, and I will not. I refuse to. I refuse to give into the fear. Okay. And you know what? I'm perfectly healthy. I'm perfectly fine. I feel good. And, life is good. I'm taking this as an opportunity. I'm taking this as an opportunity to go out and to serve people and to share things like this class with you. And, if this class helps just one person to be a little bit more relaxed, then I've done part of my purpose. If it helps many of you, then I've done more of my purpose. If it helps all of you, then this is my aim. This is what I'm doing. I'm here to give as much value to you as I can. So, here's the thing, right here, right now, right? So you call someone up and you say, hey, you want to come over? And they go, yeah, I'll be right there. It's kind of a colloquialism. I'll be right there. No one ever says I'll be wrong there, right? So you're right here. When you're here, right now, right here. So you're right here and you're right now. Everything's all right now, right here, right now. When you stay present, when you're aware, you can hear the sound of my voice. You can see this shipping foam behind me, as some people have called it. It's actually acoustic tile. But, the thing is, what led me to this place to be teaching you this class tonight? It's like, I don't react to things. My whole life must have been stress-free. And I can tell you, I'll give you bits and pieces of my story, but when I was 19, my father passed away. My mother had no means of supporting us. My brother was living on his own and wanted nothing to do with helping out. And my sister kind of freaked out and took off. So that left me at 19 years old, to figure out how to save my father's business that was actually on the verge of going public, but without that money, it was kind of on the verge of going out of business unless someone could run it. So I didn't know how to run his business per se, but luckily, I had started kind of a little bit of a side business that I wound up expanding. And then some of the aspects of his business I could take over and do. And my goal was to survive for 3 years. And guess what I did? I survived for 3 years. I set a goal. I felt good about it. I was focused on it. And I accomplished it exactly the way I set out to be. But you know what? Surviving is bullshit. You don't want to just survive. You want to thrive, right? So what happened was a friend of mine comes to me after 3 years. He goes, Mark, you've been working your butt off just for what? You know, yeah, you paid all your bills. Yeah, you didn't go out of business. But what are you doing this for? He's like, listen, a friend of mine has a timeshare in Aruba. We're all going to go down there. You know, we got a special deal on, you know, on the room, and, you know, we can get a good deal on plane tickets, and for like $500 you can come. And I'm like, I couldn't say no. And I wound up going, and that opened up a whole new world for me, that not only could I survive, but I could thrive. And then I took that to a level where I built my business up, and then we had it where, you know, every 6 months on around 4th of July time and around Christmas to New Year's time, we'd close up the business because all the suppliers were closed and everything. So it was just an easy time to shut down, go away on vacation. So twice a year I was taking vacations. And then what happened was I had some people working for me. Some things happened with the business, and I wound up having to take on a partner. And when I took on that partner, I didn't realize that we might not get along all that well. And it wound up being a disaster. And I wound up selling him the business, but then he never paid me off. And I kind of walked away from it. I lost about $50,000 in one shot because of that. And it was a real life lesson. But what happened? I went to work for someone else that I had been talking to, that knew I had the business and admired everything that I was doing. So he brought me in to work with him as a partner, but not fully partners. And I was very distracted by all of the back and forth with the lawyers. And this was a business of doing cabinet making. And just a warning out there, if no one's ever thought of this before, do not use dangerous equipment when you're not in the ideal state of mind. So it should have been obvious to me, but here I was on the table saw, just cutting repetitive pieces at the same size, and my finger hit the blade, and I pretty much 3/4 of the way cut my finger off, had to be rushed to the hospital, and they saved my finger. And, you know, it doesn't move 100%, but it's back. And what came from that was the greatest gift. You say, that was such a disaster. You're a cabinet maker and you cut your finger and you can't work for months. And I didn't have insurance, and I was off the books over there. So, you know, it brought up a whole bunch of issues. And yet, you know, and it just goes to show another life lesson is always do the right thing, especially if you have employees. This guy didn't. But I liked him. I worked with him. I continued to work with him afterwards. I did not sue him, even though I could have gotten his house or whatever. That's just not who I am. So I owned up to the fact that it was my fault. I did the wrong thing. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. But here's what happened. A friend of a friend introduced me to someone that had a marketing business that then handed me a stack of books that I had, you know, maybe heard about, but never thought about. And I was never a big reader. I was kind of semi-diagnosed as dyslexic in high school. So I just never really liked reading. The words just kind of looked jumbled to me on the page, and it didn't make sense. And I didn't see an incentive to read. But then this guy hands me these books, you know, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Power of Positive Thinking, How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling, and, you know, all the classic self-help books that have sold millions of copies over the years. And I devoured these books. I didn't just read them, I devoured them. I would like tear pages out. I would photocopy it and blow it up as a poster. I would rewrite half the book. I would highlight things. I would scribble through it. And I just couldn't read enough fast enough. And then I was going to a chiropractor at the time 3 times a week. So on a Monday, I'm telling him about this book that I'm reading. And he goes, wow, that book sounds really cool. And I said, yeah, it is. And he goes, bring it in Wednesday. I'd love to borrow it from you. And I said, well, I'm in the middle of reading it. And he goes, well, I'll give it back to you on Friday. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is a 450-page book. How's he going to read it in 2 days? And he goes, well, it's not going to take me 2 days. It's only going to take me one night to read it, but I don't want to make you come back here another day. So I got curious. I'm like, how can you read a book in one night and retain any of the information? And then he told me about some accelerated learning techniques and a photo reading process where you could take mental photographs of the pages. And he told me about a place in New York City that teaches it. But then he also told me, he says, go a little bit further to this place in Toms River, New Jersey, because the guy also teaches NLP. He teaches hypnosis. And I was like, okay, great. I did it. I took the course. It was amazing. I could read books in a night. I'd be able to quote pages from the books and tell people, what page number it was on, where on the page it was. And, and people were just amazed. And it's a skill. It's a skill that you could learn. And I've used this accelerated learning. I've taught it to people. I've helped people pass like really high level tests over the years. So this was skill one. But then the guy has a little poster in his office that says, learn neuro-linguistic programming for marketing. And here I am learning marketing. And now I've got this tool that's going to help me learn marketing. And since I had been with this guy for a while, he told me now is my turn to get up and train people. And I was shy. Like when I say shy, I mean like really, really, really shy. Like I would be at a party and I wouldn't even be the guy there talking to the couple of guys on the wall. I would just like talk to nobody. I'd be like walking around trying to avoid people, yet I'm at the party for some strange reason. I don't know why. I was that shy, and I'm not that way anymore. And what happened when I discovered the field of neuro-linguistic programming and then later hypnosis, and then I started working with people. I never wanted to help people to get rid of what's called restorative problems, at least not at that time, to help people stop smoking or lose weight or get rid of fears or phobias, which all these tools are great for. I just wanted to use it for people who their life was pretty much okay and they wanted to make it better, or they wanted to be better presenters or close more calls or whatever it was they were looking to do. And then a friend of mine calls me up. He says, hey, you're doing coaching. And I'm like, yeah. And he refers me to an article in the newspaper, 7-page article, including the front page and the first 3 pages, and then another 3 or 4 pages somewhere else in the paper. And it's all about this new field of coaching back in 1995, 96. And I just read through the whole article, and there were 2 different organizations that were teaching coaching. And I just got into it, and I started working more and more with clients, helping them to build their business, to build their mindset, to work with people that wanted to start their own business. And, and I've done that myself. I've had 10 different businesses in my lifetime. And fortunately, I've never had one fully go out of business, but I've kind of transitioned from one into the other, into the other, into the other. And when you realize, hey, you can be resilient, right? You can be resilient. People ask me, what's my superpower? And I think my superpower is my resilience, my ability to adjust or overcome anything that's thrown at me. And I'm not asking the universe to challenge me with something that I haven't overcome yet. Please, I need a little bit of a break now, but I've been through some stuff, but this whole event that's taking place worldwide right now is a challenge to all of us to really just take an opportunity to say, how resilient are you? How can you not only survive this, but begin to thrive even before it's over? So nothing's wrong here. It's all good. And everything happens for good reason. So if you look for the good reason, it's there. People always tell me, oh, time is money. Time is money. There's deadlines for this and deadlines for that. And I got to get this done. And I get paid so much per hour. No, you don't get paid per hour. You get paid based upon the value that you offer people. So right now is a time either in your job or in your career or in whatever that you're doing, you just want to think about how you can be at the best level of offering the highest quality of services that you can offer people, right? So when you're offering higher quality services to people, then that makes you more valuable. So when you come back into the marketplace, Go online, learn a new skill. You know, if you have a job, learn a new skill. If you have a business, look into, you know, different websites, Score or things like that, where you can get more information about starting a business. You know, to, you know, look for the opportunity of where you can grow and be better and be more of an asset to whatever you do. You know, I know people that are, my good friend Dynamite D just joined, and she's a trainer, right? So, you know, she figured out a way to train people, you know, at the local high school football field, you know, with enough social distancing, but, you know, her voice is loud. It carries probably halfway across the football field because she's Dynamite D, you know, and it's like, you know, so the thing is, there's a way, you know, she can't, the gym is closed, right? But she figured out a way. You know, she's continuing her training to get higher levels of certifications. She's doing stuff. She's eating better. She's eating healthier. I mean, she just recovered from surgery. So she's taking this time, I'm sure, as an opportunity to heal and to grow and to get strong, so that when she can interact with more of her students, she can be full on, you know. Again, nothing is wrong here. It's all good, and it's all happening for good reason. So the statement, time is money, is absolutely 100% false. Time is not money. Time is so much more than money. It's so much more valuable than money, right? So here, you know, we're not making more money necessarily because of this situation with the world, but certainly everyone that I've spoken to has more time. This is a gift. What are you going to use this time for? Think back over the last year or 2 years or your life where you said, if only I had the time, I would blank. What is that? Answer that. Answer it right now, because we're going to jump into a trance in a minute, and you're going to be able to explore that on a conscious level and an other than conscious level and integrate that. So that thing that you said, what if I had more time? What would I do if I had more time in my life? What would I do if I could just make a shift and a transformation in my life, 180 degrees, go in a different direction, or get on a whole new path in life and just go with the flow of what's going on in my life and the world around me, and really step it up and see, what do people need right now? Go out and find anything related to your profession or your career or your business, and just ask people questions about it. You know, so after this, what would make you come back? What would make you use this product? What would give more valuable to the service that myself or my company or my job offers to people, right? What is it that I can do to be more valuable in the marketplace when I come back? Do you need to fine tune your resume if you need to start looking for a job? Do you need to fine tune the resume inside your head of how you think about yourself and what you're doing? So take all this into consideration. I said last week, life prepares you for living, and everything happens for a good reason, because it is all good. So something bigger is coming. Something better is coming. This is your preparation work. This is preparing you for an opportunity in your life, right? So you got a choice. Again, life is choice. You can choose uncertainty or you can choose certainty, right? So really that uncertainty is what's making people afraid. You know, you can't be certain and afraid. Try it. It's ridiculous, right? Mm-hmm. But, you know, when you're uncertain, that's when you don't know, right? So people are like, I don't know if I'm going to get sick. I don't know if the economy is going to recover from this. I don't know if we're going to go into a recession. I don't know if blah, 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 blah. I could go on and on, right? With those, I don't know. There's a ton of stuff you don't know. So focus on what you do know. And more importantly, focus, if you don't know, at least play the what if game towards the positive, right? So, you know, you can wait and see what happens, right? Here we go. We're going to just wait. What happened? Nothing. Right? So you can't wait and see if life is not about waiting to see what happens. Life is about making shit happen and doing it now. Play full on. Okay? You owe it to yourself. You owe it to the world around you. You owe it to the people that are counting on you to play full on. So think about the things that are most important to you. think about how you feel when you think about that. And more importantly, just, immerse yourself in it. So we're going to do a little bit of a meditation now. I'm going to leave about 10 minutes at the end for you to just really share anything, any questions, any concerns, any learnings that you have. And I'll open up the microphones for the last 10 minutes or so for you to share. But for now, I'd like you all to get in a nice quiet place. Or, if you have headphones and you can put them on easily, if not, just, be in a place where you can listen comfortably and really just take this in a way that's enjoyable for you. And I'm going to do a little bit different induction than I've done last time. I see a bunch of people are here, so I don't want to be too redundant on that. And for the people that it's your first time here, first of all, with trance, here's the number one guideline. It's all good. So some people might go into a light trance. Some people might go into a deep trance. Some people might go into a medium trance. Whatever level of trance happens for you, it's all good. Okay? So if you don't go into a deep trance the first time, that's fine. If you do go into a deep trance the first time, that's fine too. Whatever happens, it's all good. Just allow any sounds or distractions in the room to bring you back to the sound of my voice, which might begin to guide you as your own inner voice into a deeper state of relaxed trance. Okay? You don't need any prior skills to do this. There's nothing special that you need to do other than to sit quietly and listen and just take it in. And if it takes you on a journey, go there, enjoy it, explore, go with the flow. So it's kind of like, coming back to another analogy about a stream, there's this branch that goes out into a stream of water. And there are these creatures that live on this branch. And, what they do is their whole life is based upon clinging on to this branch. And these creatures are called Klingons. That's who they are. That's what they do. They cling on to this branch. And they're magical beings, but they just don't know it because their whole life, all they do, they're born on this branch, and their whole life they spend clinging on to this branch. So the personal trainers get a kick that they're building up their muscles, they're holding on to this branch. But, one day, this one Klingon comes to his parents, and he's a little confused, and he asks his parents, what can I do? How can I how can I enjoy life a little bit more in a way that I don't have to be stuck on this branch my whole life? I just want to be enjoying life. I want to explore life. What can I do to get more and more out of life? And when you start to think about what can you do to get more out of life, it doesn't involve staying stuck in the same place. So this young Klingon is like, what would happen if I let go? And his parents, both in unison, said, no, you can't let go. If you let go, you'll fly off down the stream and you'll be dead. And the Klingon was scared, right? But then another day went by, another couple of days went by, another couple of weeks went by, and he just realized all he does is cling on to this branch. His whole life is spent clinging on to this branch. And he just wants more. Some way, somehow, he just wants more. So he goes to his parents again, and he tells them, listen, clinging onto this branch for my whole life. I was born here. I'm going to die here. To me, this is death. Clinging on is worse than dying. I want to go on an adventure. I want to see what else there is in the world. I'm willing to take the risk and let go and go down that stream and see where life takes me. And his parents are in tears because they can see the commitment in his eyes and realize that he's actually going to do it. So he lets go. And he flies off down the stream, and the parents are crying that he's now dead to them. He's left their world, right? And meanwhile, here's this young Klingon flying down the stream, and for the first time, he's not just holding on. He's going over the wave, and he's going around this and over that, and then in front of him is this giant rock. And he tenses up, and he's like, oh no, I'm going to hit the rock. And he's focusing on it. I don't want to hit that rock. I don't want to hit that rock. I don't want to smash into that rock. But he sees a leaf heading right for the rock, and he sees the water carry the leaf over and around the rock. And he's like, I have to be like the leaf. If I'm like the leaf, I won't smash into the rock. I'll flow over it and around it. So he gets himself all loose, and he just goes with the flow. And he's not fighting the current. He's not trying to swim upstream or swim away from the rock or avoid it. He just goes with the flow, and he goes around the rock. And then he comes to another branch way off in the distance, and he sees a whole nother tribe of Klingons on this branch. And they see this angel flying through the sky that looks like them, but it's this spiritual being flying at them at high speed. And they go, look at him. He's the savior of our world. He's whatever they want to call him. He's going to transform us all. And the young Klingon sees all these Klingons holding onto this branch, and he's like, let go, come with me. It's great. Be free. And they're like, no, we're afraid. We don't want to die. And he goes, I let go of my branch, and I'm all the way downstream, and there's more to come. Lots of wonderful things to explore, lessons in life, things. It's scary. It seems dangerous. It's not the comfort that you're used to. It's uncertain, but I can tell you, it's so worth it. Just let go. Come with me. And he gets a couple of them to actually let go, and they're like, yay! And they let go, and they're floating downstream with him. Now there's like 3, 4, 5 of them all floating down the stream. They pass another branch, another 3 or 4 or 5 of them add to it. And finally, there's about 25, 30, 50, 100 of them going down this stream. And the stream starts to pick up, and the water starts to get more rough. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. And then the first Klingon sees way off in the distance, the stream just ends. He doesn't know what it is, but the water just stops, as if it just ends at that point. And he says, you know what? I think it's the end of the world. I think this is absolutely the end of the world. What are we going to do? And he's like, hey, you know what? If we would have stayed on that branch and just been stuck there, we know what our whole life would have been. We would have been certain to be bored for our whole life. We jumped off. We took this chance. We took the adventure, knowing that there could be negative consequences, but focusing on the positive. Look at how much fun we had. Look at how we enjoyed learning the lessons about flow and going with the energy of life and seeing where it takes you, and the beautiful things we've seen along the way, the new plants and animals that we've seen along our journey, the new experiences we've had, the different parts of the world that we've explored, and just the enjoyment of being together. We've never met each other. We would have never met each other. So even just who we met and who we join in our journey, it's just wonderful to explore. And then they're getting closer and closer to the end of the stream. And they see that it just kind of drops off like a cliff. So they all brace themselves, and intuitively they take a deep breath, and they fall off the end of the stream, down a waterfall, crashing into the pool of water below. And it's really interesting that in life, some of the best lessons can come from the scariest moments in our life. And what I want you to do is to just realize that life is choice, and you've got choices of where you can go and what you can think about and how you can perceive the world around you. Two people can look at the same thing, and one people can see it as good. One people can see it as not so good. So when you look at your life and the choices that you have, as if you're at a crossroads now, there's one pathway that takes you down a path where you're creating your life and achieving all the things you want to have in your world and to do in your world and to offer the world around you and to shine, so that people look at you and they say, you're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. You're in the right place that you're meant to be. You're right here, right now, and for good reason. And coming from this place, you can shine. You can shine so bright that you become that shiny object that people are just attracted to. They want to know, how do you do it? Years ago, I remember walking into a store, And the store owner asked me, "How are you doing?" And I said, "Fantastic." And he'd like step back and he's like, "What's going on that your life is so fantastic?" And I told him a couple of things that were going on for me. And then he started to share a couple of things in his life. And before you knew it, he was feeling fantastic too. So your good feeling not only affects yourself, but it affects others around you. And when you tune in to that best part of yourself and you tone out all the negativity in the world, you turn off the TV, you turn off that chatter in your mind now, and you just find the place within you that's the most relaxed right now. And you notice that relaxed feeling expanding even more, and where that feeling goes from there. And you start to have a level of certainty in your ability to be in tune with the state of your body and your mind in rapport with each other, where you can relax your body, perhaps relaxing all the muscles in your feet all the way up to the top of your head and down your arms, in whatever rate works well for you, to get to a place of deeper relaxation, a place where you begin to focus inwardly. And from this place, a favorite place in your body, in your mind, that you can explore now, exactly how relaxed you can be when you just let go and go with the flow of the words that I'm saying to you, are guiding you on a journey. And a lot of times along a journey, you're faced with a choice of two directions that you can take your life in. The obvious choice is always to go with the way of beauty, the way of pleasure, the way of desire, the way that appears that it will work out best. But how do you know? How do you know which place is truly the direction that will take you there? Well, the key is to be in this relaxed inner state of love for yourself, love for the world around you, a place of beauty, a place of realizing how great you are, a place of realizing what you're capable of doing, a place of being so committed to doing whatever it takes to accomplish your mission in life, and to accomplish this by tuning into your highest values and what's really important to you about this, to relax, to succeed in ways that you have the things you want, you have the amount of money you want, you have your ideal career or business, you have great and wonderful friendships, and you've weaned out all the ones that take from you, and you have only the ones that you share with others, the better version of yourself, the better version of themselves, expanding on your relationships in a way that you can really enjoy that. When you come from this place of love for yourself and others and your life, then you can make the best possible choice as to which pathway to take. So right now in your mind, I'd like you to imagine these two pathways. One pathway that will lead you in a way to accomplish that thing that you said, if only I had more time. Because now you've got all the time in the world. In the next couple of minutes of clock time, you can take all the time in the world to explore exactly where that path will lead you to. And you can go all the way to the end of that timeline. You can go a week, a month, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years into that future and see how that plays out when you've taken the time now to reset, to readjust, to re-elicit that better part of you in a way that you begin to really feel connected to yourself and the world around you, succeeding, perhaps even beyond your imagination. And notice what that feels like. What's your life like? And you also have equal opportunity to explore another path, a path where you cling on to the same old, holding on to what you know and taking a lot of effort, a lot of energy just to keep that same job, just to keep that same level of income, just to keep the same relationships in your life, just to keep that same lifestyle, just to keep doing the same things day in and day out. And realize, are you really utilizing your most valuable asset, time? Because time keeps moving. It's like that fast-moving stream. So you can go with the flow. You can enjoy every moment of it by going down the right path for you. You can make it happen. So what I prompt you to do right now is just take a moment and go inside and ask that part of you that had been protecting you, and ask that creative part of you all the wonderful ideas that it has, and ask that results-oriented, proactive part of you, what's the best choice for you now to live your life more fully, more aligned with who you truly are, more in tune with what's important to you and what's going on in the world around you, and how you can live more enjoyably and enjoy the life that you're living in a way that works best for you, to go with the flow. Because when they open their eyes, the Klingons realized that they weren't sure if they had died or not. But if they had, they surely wound up in the most beautiful place. They found themselves floating in a pond of perfectly still water. For the first time in their life, they didn't have to fight the current and cling on. They didn't have to stabilize themselves. They didn't even have to go with the flow. They were just enjoying looking around at the beautiful flowers around the edge of the pond, the lotus flowers or the lily pads in the pond, the different sounds going on around them. And then the first Klingon tried something that no one has ever tried before. He moved his arms in such a way that he could direct where he was in the pond. He was actually teaching himself how to swim. And because of holding on, because of clinging on all those years, his arms were so strong, he found he could swim pretty fast. And the others started swimming around, and they could meet up. And they could go and explore the rest of the pond. And they could look at the edge of the pond or the center of the pond. They could even dive underwater and then come back up. And they realized for the first time in their life, they had known it was missing, but they never really knew exactly what it was until this moment. To be free, but not just free in their body. Their mind was free. They could think about things more than just surviving. They could think about things more, and they realized how much energy it had taken just to hold on, just to cling on. 90% of their mental and physical energy was based just to cling on. For what? They weren't enjoying life. They were just surviving. They never gave themselves an opportunity to fully explore who they were. They were just like every other Klingon, clinging on. But now, if only they could go back and tell the others, it's amazing, let go, it ends, you go off the stream and you think you're gonna die, and we're not even sure if we did die or not, but if we did, we are definitely in heaven, or whatever you want to call this place, because it's beautiful, it's great, we're free, we can move around on our own, we can direct our own lives, we can choose to go here and go there, we can choose to go back to another place and go there, we can choose to go to the edge of the pond, we can choose to go to the center of the pond, we can choose to meet up in groups, we could choose to swim by ourselves. Really, for the first time, to be able to choose what you want your life to be like. And all it took was a little bit of time to go inside and reflect on this better part of yourself and what you truly want to be happening for you and the world around you, transformed in the most magnificent way. So in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, you can open your eyes if they were closed and be fully awake, fully alert, and fully aware of just how good it feels. Only as quickly as you make this choice as to which path you're going to go, to choose the way of beauty, and make this choice from a place of love for yourself and the world around you, to connect with the highest version of yourself, to make the best possible choice that you can now. Because the whole time you've been listening to this, you've had some conscious thoughts, and I'm sure you've had some other than conscious thoughts. So your conscious will and your other than conscious imagination have been working together as one to help you to realize and extract any benefits that you had gotten from holding on to the same old, from clinging on to things in your life, from realizing what you needed to let go of. And you can realize 3 shifts that you can make in your life. Maybe in the next 3 seconds or the next 3 minutes, or certainly over the next 3 days, to begin to notice and to become aware of these changes that you can make in your life, these shifts that you can make to become the better version of you, going with the flow on that path of beauty and magnificence for you that leads to your ideal future. And not just for yourself, but for all the people in your world to celebrate. When they ask you how you're doing, and you say, fantastic, and you mean it from every core in your body, when they can see you're doing what you're meant to be doing, you're doing it in the way that you're meant to be doing it, and you're doing it right here, right now, full on, shining like a beacon for others to say, how did you do that? How can I do that? Where do I go to discover myself in the way that you've discovered yourself right here and now? Right here, right now is the only place that you can discover yourself, because it's the only place you truly exist. Everything else is either a memory of the past or a memory of the future. Thinking about what happened or trying to anticipate what will happen. But when you stay present like you just were, right here, right now, you're a gift. You're a gift to the world, because this is the most authentic version of you, and you can shine with a full level of confidence and certainty, because all that exists is right here, right now. Everything that you want in this world is right here, right now. Everything that you want to be, everything you want to do is right here, right now. Play with it. Enjoy it. Revel in it. It's your cool, clear pond to enjoy on a warm, sunny day. You're not going to cling on to the middle when you can swim anywhere you want in the pond. It's your choice. So when you're ready to experience your life with not just one or two or even three or four of your senses awakening to this reality, but when you're ready to play full on, then and only then can you now open your eyes with all five of your senses fully awake, fully alert, and fully aware of yourself and the world around you, coming back into the room, hearing the sound of my voice, and realizing just what that experience was like for you. So, the plane had dropped to 1,000 feet. Everybody on the plane is freaking out. And my friend looks over at me and says, "What is wrong with you, Mark?" And I just laugh at him. And I said, "I believe in a higher power. And I believe that someday I'm going to die. But I don't believe today's that day. And I'll tell you what, if it's my time to die, there's nothing I could do about it. I'm not flying the plane. I'm just a passenger. And if it's not my time to die, then the plane's going to land safely. And I choose to believe the second one. It's not my time to die. So if I knew with a sense of certainty from my inside resilience of dealing with this situation that I was not going to die, and even if I was going to die, there's nothing I could do about it, I might as well enjoy the ride. So that's what I did. I said to him, I said, "You know what? We've gone to Great Adventure. We've gone to Disneyland and Disney World. We've gone to all these places, and we've been thrown up in the air and shot down into a hole and twisted and turned and flipped and dropped and lifted and dropped and lifted and dropped." I said, "So if you looked at this plane as one great ride that was meant to amuse us, woohoo! I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this. I'm not going to give in to the fear. I'm not going to let myself be all these negative chemicals go through my body." I was having adrenaline rushing through my body, but I was utilizing it in a way that it made me feel good. I was enjoying it. I wasn't trying to mask my fear. I was truly enjoying this, because I said, if the plane is going to fly safe, and I trust in the pilots to do that, and I trust in my higher power that, okay, the weather made the plane go up and down, it's turbulence, but the plane is meant to handle stuff that we can't even imagine, great. So I enjoyed it. The plane landed safely. We found out that that turbulence was caused by a tornado that actually ripped the roof off a school up in Westchester. And, so thank God we didn't go anywhere near that, but the plane did land safely. They had never experienced a tornado up there before, or maybe it's incredibly rare. Let's put it that way. It's not tornado country. And that caused this low pressure zone that's what caused the plane to drop. And yes, it could have caused it to drop all the way down into the sea or into the ground, but it didn't. The plane landed safely, and everybody on the plane applauded because they were just happy to be alive. And I applauded, and I thanked the pilot. And he goes, "Why are you thanking me?" And I said, "I'm thanking you for a wonderfully amazing ride that was a bonus for this trip." He obviously looked at me a little puzzled, but here's the thing. It's your choice. Life happens. You can react or you can act. You can come from a place of certainty or a place of fear and uncertainty. It's your choice. Which one puts better chemicals going through your body? Which one is going to get you to the outcome that you truly want in life? Which one's going to make your life more enjoyable right here, right now, right? If you're healthy, which no one answered before. So I'm guessing you're all healthy. So right here, right now, there's nothing to worry about. You're healthy. Okay, if you get sick, whatever, worry about it then. Then take some things to boost your immune system. Bed rest, quarantine yourself, go to the hospital, whatever it takes. But meanwhile, enjoy your life. Think positive. What can you do? How can you utilize this wonderful time to make improvements, to thrive, not survive, thrive, to make the most of this moment? You get what you focus on. So I'm going to unmute. I don't know if I want to unmute everybody, but yeah, so I'm going to allow participants to unmute themselves. And if you want to go, try and go one at a time. But is anyone still there? I see Dynamite D is still there, but other than
I'm here, Mark. It's Nadine.
Okay.
That was fantastic.
I am here. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark.
Fantastic.
Okay, so any questions, any concerns, anything interesting that came up that you want to share? Now's your time. Chime in. This last 8 or 10 minutes is for you guys and gals.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I want to say thank you, and it was super amazing. It was fantastic. I'm so glad I'm here. I could say I love the times. I love what you said about the chemicals in your brain. I remember I had moved to California, and the nervous energy was also like a boost. You know, it was exciting. It was nervous. It was neurotic, but it was in a way fun because it's you're alive, right?
Right.
Freaked out and you're anxious. It's kind of like at least you're alive. You're not depressed. I don't think it's funny. I don't think depression and moving and going with that anxiety can be in the same place at the same time. I don't think I'm depressed and moving and freaked out about something. So I surfing, I remember, and I was in the water. I was talking to a friend of mine before I went out, and I said, "Are there sharks in there?" And he said, "Yeah, they're there. They live there." And I was swimming, and I was like, it's crazy, but it's great.
Right. Cool.
Actually,
it's funny that you mentioned about that. That trip where I was coming back from California was actually where my cousin taught me how to surf during that trip in California in Huntington Beach. Very cool.
I love the analogy of flying because I've had a fear of flying for a very long time. I'm from Australia, as you know, Mark, and I travel to Australia every year. It's a 24-hour flight.
That's a long boat ride.
It's hard sometimes, and it's very bumpy and very turbulent. But ever since I've gotten into, practicing, my health coaching and mindfulness, I'm able to somehow tune out and not feel scared when we hit pretty bad turbulence. And I've been able to kind of get to a point where I'm not fearful anymore and going with the flow and just, just trusting that everything will be okay and to let go and to not try to control the situation and to just let go of the fear and go to a quiet place. And I've learned how to do that. And I really love that analogy because I can totally relate to that.
Cool.
It was a great meditation. Thank you so much.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else? We've still got 5 minutes left. No one? Things you didn't like about it? I can handle it. So I don't know if I told this story last time, but I'll tell it again because it was just appropriate with our reaction to things. They interview the singer-songwriter Carly Simon backstage at Madison Square Garden, and they ask her, "Carly, how you feeling?" She goes, "Well, I'm kind of nervous. My heart's beating a mile a minute. I feel like I got butterflies in my stomach. It feels like my heart's beating so hard it feels like it's going to fly out of my chest. I'm shaking like a leaf on a tree, and I know it's time to start freaking out." So The next night, or a couple of nights later, they interview Bruce Springsteen backstage at Madison Square Garden. And they say, Bruce, how you feeling? He goes, I'm shaking like a leaf on a tree. I'm nervous. My heart's beating a mile a minute. I got butterflies in my stomach. My heart feels like it's going to beat so hard it's going to fly out of my chest. And I know it's time to get out there and rock, right? So the thing is, it's not so much what's happening, and it's not even so much how your body is physically reacting to it, but it's the meaning that you attach to it that controls the chemicals that get released into your body and where you direct that. So here's the opportunity to take what's going on in the world and to make it the best opportunity for you that you can. Jump in. The water's fine. Let go. Go with the flow. See where life takes you. I promise you the synchronicities will amaze you. To me, I call my higher power God. If you don't like that word, change it to whatever word you want spontaneously in your mind. I'm a hypnotist and you can do that, right? Okay. Kidding. Not really, but kidding. So, it's, God's got a sense of humor. Higher power's got a sense of humor, and that humor is expressed in synchronicities, all these things that happen. You think of a friend, and all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's that friend that you haven't spoken to in 6 months or a year, right? I was at work. I remember, this is going back a while ago. I was at work, and I think of my friend, and I hadn't spoken to him in about 9 months. And it's like my best friend I know since I'm 3 years old, but some way, somehow, he had a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend. We kind of drifted apart, and we weren't really seeing each other. He moved out east, and I was, So anyhow, whatever the reason, I hadn't spoken to him in 9 months. I pick up the phone spontaneously, and I call him. And I get his answering machine. Shows you how long ago it was, right? So I leave a message, and I'm like, it's Mark, haven't spoken in a while, give me a call back, blah, 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 right? 2 minutes later, he calls me back. And anyone who's old enough in here to know what the old answering machines were, is when you were leaving a message, the person could listen to the message and decide whether they were going to pick it up in the middle of your message or not. It wasn't like voicemail where it goes there and you have to wait for them to leave the message and then you can retrieve it. But you could actually cut them off halfway through leaving a message on an old like fashioned cassette tape or whatever in there. But so like literally, before I was even fully done leaving my message, the phone rings, and it's my friend calling me. And I'm like busting on him. I'm like, oh, you were screening your calls. And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, I just called you at home, and obviously you were listening to the machine and heard I called, and you called me right back. He's like, dude, I'm at work. I'm like, whoa. So like I was thinking of him, he was thinking of me, and those thought energies transcend time and space, So we're going to do a class. I got to warm you guys up a little bit to my way of thinking, but I know Dynamite D knows this term, morphogenic fields, right? Dynamite D. we have fun exploring, but there's a vibration, there's an energy that you can create. And I think meditation is your way of getting there and getting in tune with at least a higher version of yourself. But when you really hone these skills, as we're going to do over the next couple of weeks, you're going to be able to use this to attract amazing things into your life intentionally by not having them be a coincidence, by creating those coincidences, by vibrating in relation to all of the coincidences you've had that follow a pattern and be able to recreate that pattern in your life. So these are just some of the things we're going to explore, along with, getting profoundly relaxed and being more in tune with yourself. So we're right up at 8:30. I'm going to end by sharing my screen. And for any of you that want a special bonus, you can reply to the email that you got. Or if you want a replay of this, if you missed all or part of it, you can, well, if you missed all of it, you wouldn't be seeing this, but you can reach out to me if you want to talk about anything that you want to change in your life. Feel free to reach out to me, and we can help you to work on making those changes in your life. I'm seeing where is not allowing me to share that one part on my screen. Why not? Okay, so anyhow, I will share it. It's relax@nyih.org. So for those of you on the phone, you can see what I'm saying. It's RELAX@nyih.org, or you can reply to the email which you got, which was succeed@nyih, I believe. Or any email address that you have that you've received something from me from, reply, okay? Or you can reach out to me by phone or text at 631-501-1406 with any questions or concerns or things that you want to explore in your life. And I'm here to help you, and I hope come back next week and bring friends, please. If you enjoy this, please tell as many people as you can.
Absolutely.
We can hold 100 people in this room, and we're short of that, so we got room to grow. I thank you for coming in the deepest place of my heart, and just let me know if there's anything that you want me to add in or subtract from the classes. I love feedback. Please share. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was fantastic. Have a good night.
Thanks, Mark. It was great. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you. It was great. It was really, really beautiful. Thank you. Even if I joined too late because of the time zone problem, but it was amazing. I appreciate it.
Well, now you know the time difference for next time. So come back next week, same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The same correct time. Now that you know how to adjust for that, right? So life is not always perfect. You know, it goes one way and then it might not have been the best way. So we can adjust and make it happen, right?
Absolutely.
That's what we are. We're resilient. That's my superpower. And I'm willing to share it if you want. Have a great night. I'm going to end the meeting. Be well.
Right.
I'll see you next week.
Take care. Thanks, Mark.
Good night.
Thank you. Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Bye-bye.